What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are going to be doing part 2 of my Derwent Inktense pencils and Inktense blocks review, and I'm also going to be doing a demonstration on how I've done the second half of this piece. If you have not watched the first video that I had posted last week, I highly suggest you do that. In that one I go over how to apply the blocks and pencils and basically show you how to do the background in that video. So I will have a card pop up here so you can check that out. Okay, so as you can see, I have started working on these trees in the foreground here, and I have used my Derwent pencils for that. And I basically, you would just apply this the way you would apply any pencil, like you can see what I'm doing right now. And then you go back over it with the wet paintbrush with just plain water and go ahead and smooth and blend that out like I'm doing now. And that's what I'm going to be doing on the other half of these trees really quick as well. So I forgot to mention in my last video and show you guys how they come. So I'm going to go ahead and have a picture pop up in the corner so you can see officially how the 24 packs are packaged and how they come. Okay, moving on. And now I am on my second layer of these trees in the foreground here, and I am applying my pencil. Right now I think I'm using a mix between the ink black, the charcoal gray, and bark, and a little bit of indigo blue on this first tree here. I want to pull a lot of the blue into all of my subjects in this piece just to kind of give it the feel of everybody's in the same environment. So there will be blue on a little bit of everything in this piece. Now I'm working on this hat, and looking back at it now, it's the only thing I don't really care for about this piece. And I was debating on trying to cover it up, but I didn't want to officially ruin anything. I don't think it looks too horrible. I think it maybe could have been a better design. So yeah, that's pretty much the only part I'm not really thrilled about with this piece, is this hat. Alright, so moving on to the trail portion of this. It's going to take me like a million layers to get this, so I'm just going to keep layering until I get it to way it's going to look the way that I want it to. And as you can see, I am pulling the blue in, working on some shadows, and I'm using the blocks for most of this. I saved the pencils for basically my last layers. I feel like it's a little easier that way. Shockingly, I was a little bit disappointed as to how many layers it took me to get it the way that I wanted. I wasn't really officially working with a real plan on the bottom of this though, so that could have partially been my fault. But moving on to part 2 of the review, these lay down really quickly, and I really like how the pencils lay down too. The casings on them, they're a great casing, very similar to the Derwent drawing pencils, you know, coincidentally, because they're made by the same company. So they basically make their wood casings the same as those. And as far as I can tell, really the only downfall with this product is that it's not lightfast. Which it doesn't seem to bother me at all, because I don't sell my originals at this point in time, and this photographs really well. So it doesn't really affect me much, but if you're the kind of artist that likes to sell the originals, I don't recommend this medium for you. But if you love to sell prints and, you know, merchandise and stuff like that, it's a great medium because it does photograph really well. The colors are very vibrant, and it just all around creates a great photo. Another thing that I did mention in the previous video that I want to mention again in this one is you should really make a color chart, especially if you're using the pencils. It's a little bit more harder with the blocks because there's so many color options when you're using the blocks and so many ways you can mix it. But for the straight solid pencils, I highly recommend a color chart similar to the one that I have made, and I will have an image pop up around here somewhere so you can see the one that I made. Also, a really great thing about this product is that everything is available open stock, so you do not have to buy a brand new pack when you just run out of one color, which is fabulous. The only flaw in this kind of system is the blocks. They actually have the numbers printed on the actual product, and it doesn't have a casing or anything, so if you use it a lot like I did, I noticed that half of my numbers are gone. So if Derwent is listening, I would find a different way to kind of number the blocks. I mean, the 24 pack, you can kind of tell what colors you're missing, but I can imagine in the 72 pack or higher, or, you know, they have a much larger set of this, and it could be a little bit more difficult to buy your colored blocks open stock. But other than that, open stock is great, and I highly recommend getting products that you can buy stuff with open stock stuff, just because you don't have to buy a whole brand new set of brand new pencils or brand new blocks when you just ran out of one color. Okay, so back to the demonstration part of this review and demonstration video. I am working on my little gravestone right now. I decided to put the date that I completed it on the gravestone because I didn't know what to put on there, and I didn't want to just put rest in peace on there. I wanted it to be relatively kind of mysterious or whatever. I also was able to add red in and kind of like make piles of leaves, and as you can see under her, I have actually started to create a shadow, which I almost forgot. And that's based on my light source, which is in front of her, so you will see me try to kind of make sure everything's lined up with that light source. And now I'm going in and adding some more layers on my trees. I actually found these trees really irritating at some point. Actually, it wasn't the trees or the project. It took me so long to finish this because in this instance, this paper was so big, and it's way bigger than I was used to working on, and I ended up having to set up my station really awkwardly, and I had to like reach a really far distance to get to the paper, and I was, you know, like almost to the point to where I couldn't get close enough to the actual project, so I was kind of like leaning over it the whole time. So I'm really excited to get the new camera setup going in the new studio when that is finished, because that was just kind of a disaster, and that really made me not want to finish this one. And I'm really glad I ended up doing it because I actually really like how this turned out. It kind of had like a Tim Burton-y, you know, Sleepy Hollow kind of feel to it, which was really cool. Speaking of paper, I am using the Fabriano Artistico Extra White Hot Press 300-pound watercolor paper this time, because the first time I did this, I did it on the 140-pound watercolor paper, and I wanted to see if this one held it a little bit better. It felt like the other one kind of warped a little bit, even though it was taped down. This one handled it a lot better, so I guess it really kind of depends on what you have on hand and how much you want to spend or whatever. I wanted to try out the 300-pound paper for this medium, so I actually just bought 2 sheets of that. And you are, like I said a minute ago, you're going to want to tape down your paper when you're using this or any wet media. Okay, so I am working on her dress right now. I think I'm using the charcoal. Yeah, the charcoal gray pencil is what I went in with first, and then I'm just activating that with my wet paintbrush, plain water. I really like how her dress turned out. I was actually really nervous when I was working on the skin because there wasn't really any skin toned colors. There was one, but like it's just so generic, and I didn't want her to just have all of a sudden like these peach legs and stuff. So I went in, I used willow bark, and then I wetted them down, and then I used like this lighter fleshy toned block. And you can see like it gets kind of awkward at this point, like it's a little kind of too dark. I think in the end it came out really nice though. With the shadows and everything. It was my first attempt on, you know, skin tones since picking up art again, so I thought this was quite a challenge for me. and having hands in the photo. Like, hands are one thing that I really need to work on, so I was actually really proud of myself for just putting her in like this and experimenting with the skin colors and trying to get the hands right and all of that, and I'm pretty excited with how it turned out. I'm actually pulling some blues into her skin tone. Also, like you can see in the shadowed areas, there's a lot of blue in there because we want her to feel like she's in the environment and not just like a sticker that's on a forest picture. Starting to work on the hair with the, I think that one was the Sriracha Red pencil. I really like the way that one came out. Just lightly wetting it, and it's going to take me a lot of layers to get her the way that I want. But as you can see, the colors are really great. You can go, it's almost like some of them are like really muted and some of them are so vibrant, but they work so well together. It's so cool the way this came out. I'm actually really proud of this piece, partly because I didn't want to finish it and the situation was so awkward. And I'm one of those people that never seems to finish anything, so this was like a triumph. Big piece of paper that I had completely finished, which was awesome. Alright, so let's go ahead and sum up our review here and basically touch on the points that I thought were great. So you are going to want to make a color chart for your pencils. They look very different dry and wet, which I highly recommend you do. They come in pencil and block form. They come open stock, which is great. Sorry, my dog apparently wants to make a whole bunch of racket right now. So yeah, the open stock, you are able to buy each thing individually, so you don't have to buy a brand new set when you run out of one color, which is fabulous. These are not lightfast, so that's really kind of the only bummer if you sell your original art. I don't, so I don't really see a difference with anything. They do photograph really well. So taking photos and selling prints of your work is not going to be a problem. The colors are very vibrant in the photographs, which I think is awesome. Another great thing that I like about these is that the pencils, the casings are great, a nice sturdy wood casing, which is always nice. They do lay down really quickly, even though it took me forever to finish my piece. It was because of my awkward situation. The first one I did, the flamingo that I showed you in the previous video, actually I finished that in a couple days. I probably about 6 or 8 hours worth of the sitting instead of the crazy amount of long time that it took me to complete this one. So yeah, I highly recommend this if you haven't tried it and you want to try something new. It's a relatively newer product. I think it came out in 2006. I believe it's the only medium like this. I don't know if somebody's tried to make a copycat version of that yet. But yeah, I highly recommend you give it a go. And if you have tried it, let me know in the comments what you thought of this product. I would love to know what you guys thought of this if you did try it. Finishing up on my girl here, this is my attempt at making wind. I wasn't really sure about it during the process, but I actually really like how it came out. I thought it was very cool, the end result. I'm gonna be very happy with this image hanging in my house around Halloween time of next year, along with my Inktober pieces. So that's pretty much all I got for you guys with this video and demonstration Inktense review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you know an artist that might be interested in trying this medium, go ahead and share this video with them. Here's the finished product. These prints will be available on my website. I will have that linked below in the video description, and don't forget to subscribe so you guys don't miss any of my art videos or updates, and I will see you next week. Bye!